and thank you for joining me on the show today. This is the Now Talks, a collection of inspiring personal stories and leadership lessons from some of the world's most iconic leaders. It is the weekly podcast for women in leadership, brought to you by Nations of Women. My name is Dr. Tina Allton, and I'm your host for today and the coming weeks. Well, believe it or not, we are almost coming to the middle of January in the new year 2024. And like yourself, even recording this podcast, I'd been spending days and days and days and days dilly-dallying. And then I just told myself, Tina, you've got to do it now. Just get it done now. So here I am, getting it done now. And I want to talk to us about, I think it's an experience that we all would have at some point in our lives. And that is, how can we truly, truly, truly be in the now? How can we utilize the power that now has for us? Now, not being nations of women, but now as in now in this moment, right? Being in the moment, taking action now, stopping procrastination now, getting things done now, taking inspired action, whatever it is that you've got to do now. Have you ever stopped for a moment to think about the power of doing it now? Right? I don't know, but I want us to take a moment and think about what happens when we actually step out or step up or make that decision that we're going to make every day count. Now, when you say every day count, it's like, oh man, you're talking about days or months further ahead. But let's just start with today. How do you make today count? How can you make today count? So that your life actually, when you look back on it, whether it's, at the end of the first quarter, second quarter, end of the year, even if you want to, when you look back, you can truly see that you made every day count. Now, of course, it doesn't mean you won't face challenges or, things may not come up and take you by surprise or any of that stuff. Of course, life happens. But when you put it all together in the bigger picture, the bigger picture perspective of life, when you take a look back at the end of the year, how can you look back and be able to see that actually you made it all count? So I want us to look at some keys that hopefully will help us to not just be in the now, in the moment, but actually make every day of our life count. I was reading, I can't remember, there was a quote or something, but talking about the one thing you should be afraid of is that you look back at your life and realize that it's exactly the same as all the other years that's been by. So I don't think any of us really truly, started this year thinking, you know what, I'm going to have exactly the same year as I had 2023. I'm sure we're all thinking, I'm going to have a great year. This year is going to be the absolute best. Now, in order to have the absolute best, which I believe is absolutely possible, achievable, that this is your best year yet. This is my best year yet. So, number one is you've got to take action today. Don't postpone. Remember, I was saying at the beginning of the podcast that I'd been postponing recording this episode. And then I was like, okay, this is it. Tina, you got to do it now. So I have to speak to myself. I have to encourage myself in the same way as you would also encourage yourself. Procrastination, when we procrastinate, it only just prolongs our ability to reach our goals and our ability to actually make any progress. But when you realize that there's so much power in the now, because when you're in the now, you're in the moment, you're in the zone, you're in your genius, whatever you want to look at it. And so by going for it, By starting today, you actually get to lay the first foundation or the first brick in what is going to be the full foundation, the full house, whatever you want to call it. If you look at a skyscraper, a big house, it all starts with the foundation. One stone was laid, and then another, and then another, and then another. Then the whole foundation was made, and then the first, the first floor, and then the second floor, and then the third floor. So whatever it is you've got to do, you've got to take the first step now. The first step, the first thing, you've got to do it. Because the moment you take the first step, you have literally laid the stone, the foundation to build momentum that would help you to achieve more in the very long run. Now, you're asking yourself, or you're saying, okay, Tina, you have no idea how much I have on my plate. Well, here's a thought for you. Do you prioritize your tasks? To make great progress, it is so important, so crucial actually, that you prioritize all your tasks based on, you had it right, importance and urgency. So you can draw a line, across what's urgent, what's important, and then you can prioritize them. Because not everything that is on your plate is actually urgent. And not everything on your plate or what come your way is important. So you prioritize and you tackle what is important and what is urgent. Personally, I do, 24 hours, 72 hours, 1 week, and what can I delegate? So anything that has to be done within the next 24 hours, then my day itself is, again, divided into it's going to be done before 12 noon, it's going to be done before 3 p.m., and it's going to be done before I go to bed that night. So prioritize your task into what is truly urgent, what is truly important, and then focus on that. Now, once you have the picture of, okay, this is urgent, this is important, you can break it into smaller tasks. Because when a task feels so big and so large, it can sometimes actually cause you to become inactive, like not wanting to take any action because of the sense of overwhelm. But when you break things down into smaller, achievable chunks, it's manageable. It helps you to feel like capable. It helps you to feel like, you know what, I can do this. I've got this, right? And it also makes it a lot easier for you to be able to actually track how you're doing. So, how am I progressing? How am I achieving my goals, right? And none of these would matter actually if you're not consistent. So, consistency is always the leader's number one friend. You've got to be consistent. There's this saying that little drops of water makes a mighty ocean. How does little drops of water make it? Because it keeps consistently dripping, 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 dripping. So you want to look at, what are the habits that are actually hindering your progress, hindering your success, hindering you from being able to take action, and then counteract that with a new positive habit. Now, a habit is created 21 days straight. So you've got to be consistent, but it doesn't mean you only, um, take that action 21 days and you're done. You have to be consistent. It's a daily, daily, daily choice. So as you're consistent in your habits, in the little things, that also ultimately creates and builds a strong foundation for everything else that comes after that. Now, I've talked about this many, many times. How often do we not take action? Do we not move? Do we not do something today because I'm not ready, right? Or it's going to be perfect. I've got to be ready. This is not perfect yet. It's not 100% yet. The truth is, if you're waiting for something to be 100% for you to be fully, fully clear, I don't know. Maybe it's the business you want to start that you've been thinking about and waiting to have more clarity, waiting to be sure about something, or maybe you're trying something that you want it to be 100% perfect. Well, newsflash, perfectionism is the enemy of progress. And perfectionism can actually lead to fear, overwhelm, and procrastination. So let go of the need to be in control of everything. Let go of the need that everything has to be perfect. Everything has to be 100%. No, 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 no. Make a move, take that action, and fail forward. Right? Learn from the errors, the mistakes. Obviously, some things you have to take good risk. You have to listen to the other podcasts on how to take good risks. So, take good risk. But where you know that hey, I've got to make a move, then don't be delayed. Don't procrastinate because you want it to be perfect. Least fear sets in, procrastination sets in. And then before you know it, the year has been and gone and nothing has happened. You also want to focus on growing and learning. How can you actually grow? Right? How can you learn from all the many, many rich experiences that we go through on a daily basis? Well, growth is inevitable if you look at it even from a physical perspective or physiological perspective. We're all growing, right? We were born as babies, then toddlers and teenagers, and now we're adults. So you can't really choose that you're not going to grow because whether you like it or not, your birthday is coming every year, and that in itself is growth. But to truly grow in wisdom, in your skills, in yourself, that is a choice. That is something that does not just happen. You've got to plan. You've got to be intentional about it, right? So you have to have a growth mindset, and that doesn't just happen. You have to be intentional about changing your mindset, about growing who you are in terms of your mindset, because that's what would help you. That's what you're going to fall back on when you have challenges or when you have setbacks or when you have things that you never kind of like, planned or thought of, right? And the things, the curveballs that come our way, when you have a growth mindset, it helps you. You would see that you can even use some of those challenges as opportunities to further improve and further grow and further become even better than who you already are. Now, to be in the now requires that you eliminate all things that will steal your focus. There's so many things going on in our world. There's social media. I don't even know all the names of the platform. There is Netflix. There is, friends, there's family, there's children, there is responsibilities. There's so many things that are all vying for your attention. But you've got to recognize what is important and what is really truly a distraction, DIS. TRA, because when you don't deal with the distractions, DIS, they can lead to distraction, DES, DESTROY, right? Destroy when you don't deal with the distractions that come. So eliminate them if you can. But sometimes, for example, if you have children, you can't completely eliminate them because your children are your children, your family is your family. So you can minimize how often you're distracted in order that you are able to actually maintain your focus, in order that you have an environment that truly what do you call it, fosters growth, an environment that helps you to be positive, an environment that helps you to to be able to, stay sane even, right? An environment that helps you to be able to focus on what you're about, what is ahead of you, what you're called to be, your goals, your aspirations, your dreams. If you don't minimize or remove completely the distractions, you're not going to be able to achieve your dreams, your goals, and aspirations. And you've got to own yourself, own your time, own your stuff. We all have 24 hours. That is the common denominator for all of us. We all have 24 hours. So, again, how you use your 24 hours will determine how much output, therefore you get. So if you're squandering your time on social media or scrolling through this platform and that platform and that platform and that platform, then you'd have very little time left. And you might think, oh my gosh, I've got to meet that deadline. You're not going to be focused. It's going to be rushed and it's not going to be your best. So own how you use your time. Own how you use your time. Be intentional about what you choose to do on a daily basis. Don't waste your time, and don't let other people or other things waste your time. So again, it's going back to what is important, what's urgent. And take a moment to take it all in. The small little wins, you've got to celebrate those. By celebrating it, I don't mean going spending all your profit or spending money you don't have or spending, on your credit card. I mean, literally take time to celebrate the small things. Have friends that you can share with them, hey, I did, the emails that I wanted to do. I don't know. It doesn't have to be something big. It can be an email you've been procrastinating on sending and you finally send it. Take 60 seconds and encourage yourself. You know what? You did it. Take it in. Celebrate the small wins. By that, acknowledge the little stones that you keep moving and pushing. Anytime one more stone is moved, pushed out of the way, you want to celebrate those. Right. So reflect on how far you've come. Now we're only coming to the midway of the year, but you can still look at how far you've come. What has the weeks before been like, right? And then appreciate again those that have helped you along that way on that journey to getting to where you are. And all of these isn't going to be possible if your mindset is still stuck in its old ways. You've got to have a mindset that understands that sometimes you've got to pick yourself up. Sometimes you've got to encourage yourself, right? A positive mindset. It's what will help you to overcome challenges. It's what will help you to be, to fuel you when you need motivation. It's going to help you to be focused when there's so many distractions ahead of you or around you. It would help you to be able to see the weeds for the seeds. It would help you to be able to see clearly. It would help you to be focused. It would help you to ultimately achieve your goals, your dreams, your aspirations, and be who you're called to be. So, as you are looking at all of these, remember your mindset is very crucial because that essentially is like your support system on your journey of life. And so I hope that you find some value in this. Well, I know I have because this is how I roll, rock and roll. This is how sometimes I run my life is removing, the distractions or minimizing them as best as I can. So implement these. Cultivate a proactive or positive mindset. Be consistent in your actions. Check what habits are actually derailing you. And think of it this way. If you want a meaningful life, meaningful legacy to leave behind, then constantly be looking at the bigger picture perspective. And don't leave your growth to chance. Be intentional about how you want to grow in this year. That said, we're going to be launching very soon our platform to help women actually get off their back and start the business that they have always wanted to start. So moving it from, one day I'm going to run my own business, or someday I'm going to run my own business, or next day, bringing it all to today. Now I'm going to get started. We'll send you some more information about that, but hopefully you found this really valuable. Let me know what else you would add to this. And let me know which of these you have applied to your life and what has been the results. Until I come your way next time, thank you for indulging us. Thank you for being part of our community. And once again, thank you for being a now woman. So, again, share this podcast with other women that you know would benefit from this. And we'll come again your way next week. Bye bye. And that's all for this week. You've been listening to Dr. Tina Allton with the Now Talks, the weekly podcast for women in leadership, brought to you by Nations of Women. All that remains is for me to say have a fantastic week, stay safe, and reach out if you need any help now at nationsofwomen.com. Until next time, enjoy the pursuit of your potential, and remember, now is your time.